Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, visitors. My name is Caroline. I go by the name Diadem, my channel. So I have come on here today to speak about something that happened to me yesterday. I was in the Spirit of the Lord, and the Lord had shown me quite a few things. So I wanted to come on here and speak about it. I had a type of a visitation like this before. Okay, so first of all, the Lord again took me to hell, and it's funny because I prayed quite some time ago that God wouldn't take me to hell. I didn't want to see hell, but he shows it to me, but he shows it to me in a way that is not overly it's not traumatic or that, he shows me things about hell. So anyway, so this was the first thing that I noticed. Okay, so I wrote it down straight afterwards, everything that I could remember. I wanted to remember everything that I saw. So I'll jump right in. So I am in the Spirit this morning. This was after Sunday morning prayer, and the presence of the Lord has been strongly on me, and he has been showing me things in the Spirit as I was moving in the spirit realm. So I felt the presence of God strongly on me, and immediately I closed my eyes and I felt I was in the spirit realm. So he was showing me, and I was sensing, and I was seeing hell. Now, I wasn't seeing it clearly visually, but I was in there. I was in that place, and I could sense a hive of activity going on there. So I was feeling that hell was very alive and very active. There was a lot of activity going on in hell. Hell is very deep, and it's got a lot of depth to it. It has a lot of chambers in it. It is very vast and very big. And in the spirit realm, you get to understand things. You just know things by the Spirit. You don't have to be told them. Your spirit just knows things, right? So this is what I was getting. So I was seeing black billows of smoke puffing up in front of me, like in a continual pattern. It was just coming up before me, these black billows. I was seeing some faces. I was seeing some demons. And I was seeing particularly the eyes of demons, green eyes. And I was sensing a lot of activity, like it's very alive. This is what I sensed most, that it was a hive of activity. So the Lord was bringing me into hell, and then he was beginning to show me things from hell, okay? So in hell, I was seeing buildings forming, and I was seeing these buildings had designs on them. So, and these were like Gothic architectures, like all the buildings that I was seeing in hell. It was like they were being orchestrated, they were being planned, they were being designed, they were being designed in hell. Let me just be honest. That's what I was seeing. And so I was seeing these buildings, and all these buildings were kind of to give pride to Satan, really. And a lot of the buildings, they had that like Gothic architectures on them, including church buildings. And I saw buildings similar to the Colosseum, and I saw a building similar to the Tower of Babel. I specifically saw these. And then I saw other buildings with some similar features, and also, that had those sculptures of different weird animals or dragons or birds and stuff like that. Predominantly, you'll see this in the financial district of London, in the city of London, because a lot of them have Freemasonry. They're Freemasonry buildings, but a lot of them have those kind of weird creatures and animals as well. So this is what I was seeing. It had those particular type of architectural buildings. Some of them are very, very well done, very beautiful, kind of. So, so I was sensing that Satan has designed a lot of these different buildings, and the architecture, and that it's like he was placing his stamp mark on them. Like that's what Satan likes to do. He likes to put his stamp mark on things, It's a recognition of him. He gives glory to him. So we may think that these buildings are from God. This is what struck me. in hell, I was seeing these buildings, right? So I knew that the buildings I was being shown were these that were orchestrated by Satan and planned and designed by Satan. We may think these buildings are from God, but they're inspired by the devil, especially certain types of architecture, certain unusual sculptures of strange creatures and animals, and a lot of symbols. I saw a lot of symbols, and I know this is not the first time I know I've been shown this, but Satan likes to use a lot of symbolism to give himself glory. So actually, and then I say here because I forgot about this, actually before I was shown the activities of hell, I was hearing Sanskrit. Now I don't know why I kept hearing that, but I was hearing it. And that's what I was asking the Lord before I just was brought into hell, right? I was wondering why I kept hearing Sanskrit. So now I don't understand why. Maybe the Lord will give me more revelation, but I know, and I knew this as well, it's like in hell, it's like Satan likes old ancient things, and a lot of the places inside of hell looks very ancient and old, you know. But it's like that's what Satan likes. He likes old ancient things. He likes ancient languages. I don't know why, I don't understand, but that's what I came to realize and understand in hell, that he uses a lot of codes, a lot of symbolism. Hell is full of codes and symbolism. And I saw a lot of writings in hell. Like I was just seeing writings coming up before me in this place in hell. So a lot of writings, demonic writings, Luciferian, satanic influence writings that were in hell and that come out of hell. This is what the Lord was showing me. So some of these churches, some of these buildings were churches, and they were architectural churches. And I was also seeing these buildings being planned in small little model-sized versions. That's what I saw. Just like someone would, be planning to build a new supermarket, a new building, they put it in a small model-size form. That's what I was seeing as well. And then I was seeing cities. So then I was moving in the spirit, and I was moving over cities in the spirit. And I was seeing, it was almost like I was seeing kind of the way the devil was viewing things. That's kind of the way I was viewing it, It was with a devilish kind of understanding, that kind of mindset. So I was seeing that Satan rules over many cities, and he sees himself as the ruler of the world, and I understood this. And he sees himself as the global ruler. That was significant that, he sees himself, especially over these big congested cities. He's very interested in these cities. He sees himself as ruling over these. Then I was seeing Rome and Washington in particular, and how he has placed satanic features in these cities, where he has taken special control of these territories in a stronger fashion. And I understood that any of these type of territories, that there's rituals are done there. They're marked for him, for his glory kind of thing. He has marked them and does rituals in every one of these cities that he has marked. So Rome and Washington were the two in particular that I saw. He believes he rules over these cities and these areas. I was seeing many things in the spirit, and I'm trying to recount everything. So I was in the spirit for about an hour, and I was seeing a lot of things. So then I was trying to methodically remember everything that I had seen, when I was in the spirit. So I go back and forth a little bit, Anyway, I saw a pit open up, and I was going down into this pit. So this pit opened up in front of me, and when I got into the pit, I started moving down this pit. I realized it was a tube, and I believe it was the Hadron Collider. I was going into it, and it was a long, long tube that I was going into. And I was hearing voices from the darkness. So I was hearing these voices from hell, and God was confirming to me that yes, these voices could be heard, that they actually were able to hear hellish voices down in this Hadron Collider. They are making contact with the darkness, and they are infiltrating the darkness. They are inviting the other dimension. I don't know if it is because of the Hadron Collider, or if it is their rituals to contact the other realm, and they are seeking to contact the darkness. I believe they are connecting with another dimension. They are doing rituals. They are opening up dimensions of darkness. That's what I felt. So I didn't know quite if it was because of what they were doing in the Hadron Collider, or whether it was because they were seeking to connect with the darkness. But they were opening up other realms and other portals of darkness. That's what I did feel that. And then I was seeing clouds of darkness in the sky with demon faces on them. And I was seeing this for quite a while. I was watching the sky, and I was kept seeing movements of clouds, movements of dark clouds, and then I would see demonic faces in the clouds. And I saw this for a while, you know, different formations of clouds with demon faces. And I don't know whether it was because these demonic forces were being released from this pit, you know, or what, but that's what I was seeing for a while, so it was significant. So then I was seeing a place, so I'm kind of jumping back and forth because I was just trying to remember everything I was seeing. So then I was seeing a place, and this place, I didn't realize what it was at first, because I was seeing like stumped buildings that were molded kind of thing, and they were covered in white. But it took me a while to understand what I was seeing. So I was seeing a place, and this place was destroyed, and I was seeing white ash. So I realized what I was seeing was the white ash over these destroyed buildings, because you couldn't see the buildings anymore, just the white ash was all covering them, and they were molded into the white ash. They were stumped and smooth looking remains. And then something caught my eye, like some bright markings. So on the ground, in the midst of this desert, this place, I was seeing a marking appear, and it was shining, this marking. And I saw, so I was zoned in. I went closer into this marking, and as I went to zone in, I saw a circle of people, and I realized there was a ritual going on there, and I believe it was ground zero, and I believe it was being dedicated, and I believe I saw like a hole open up there, and I think, I felt that this is what happened before the city was destroyed. So I was seeing another place. Then I was seeing another place. Okay, so ground zero would be New York City. Okay, and I've had other prophecies about New York City being destroyed. Okay, this is not the first one. It's kind of like a recurring theme actually that the Lord shows me. So yeah, so I just wanted to mention that there. So then I was seeing another place, and I was seeing it in kind of like a fog, so it wasn't very clear to me. But I knew there was dead bodies. I could see outlines of some dead bodies, and I believed there was like it was a catastrophe. I could feel it. I could feel the barrenness. I could feel something traumatic had happened, and it was desolate and it was barren. That's my feeling. And I felt there was a lot of dead bodies there. I saw one man's, funny enough, I saw one man's face clearly. He had a beard and he was alive, and my feeling was he could have been a soldier. So I don't know where that place was. I don't know if it's linked to New York City. It could well be. I don't know. But anyway, I was just telling you what I actually saw. I didn't hear anything about it. I saw something very unusual that, you know, came before me that I was seeing visually. It was terrifying to see this. So I was looking clearly at a city. So a city came up before me, and I was looking at this city with loads of buildings, and I was seeing a beam of fire, and it was pretty large in diameter, but I was seeing it from a distance, right? So I was seeing it from maybe 5 kilometers or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, sorry, where am I? Yeah, so this beam of fire was moving on this city and destroying an area in this city, and it was methodically destroying a very specific area in the city. It shot down and it set it instantly on fire, and I saw it moving, So it was very terrifying looking, you know, because it was like a moving fire beam, a beam of fire that was destroying a particular area in the city. And I heard clearly, this is what I heard clearly 5G. And I knew the Lord was telling me this is 5G. It was terrifying to see the destruction of this beam of fire, and also because it was able to locate what it wanted with absolute precision. It's very scary because they have weaponry now to destroy whatever they want to. But I believe they're doing it covertly and they're keeping this secret. So the Lord was revealing what was going on there, that they are using 5G to destroy with fire. Okay, targets are being destroyed with fire from 5G, and these are beams, and they've got quite a radius on them as well. They're not just laser beams; they're large radius on them as well. That's what I saw on this one. I was asking God who was controlling this, and he didn't give me a direct answer, but I knew the elites were able to control it because of them being at the top of the ladder, basically. So then in the spirit, I saw a tidal wave coming over buildings, but it didn't kind of come in and crash like a big wave like sometimes you see it. It moved like a huge influx of water, like a huge flood of water, rather than a breaking wave. And actually, now I'm talking about this would remind me of the Japanese. Do you remember the Japanese flood that happened with their big wave? It just destroyed so much territory over there. So it moved like that, like a massive influx of water that just came and started coming all over the buildings. So I didn't know where it was happening, but I sensed something hit the Pacific Ocean plate. That's what I was sensing, that something hit the ocean plate to cause it. And I don't know if it was a bomb, or I don't know whether it was just a movement shift, like an earthquake. My sense was something hit it. My sense was just that something hit this plate. That's what my sense was in this. So I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what it was exactly. I wasn't shown, but I knew it was going to bring a lot of destruction, and it was going to bring a lot of questions. Then I was seeing, in part of this, when I was in the spirit, I was seeing computer games very, very clearly. Was seeing computer games, like games going on, like computer games technology, and they were very advanced computer graphic games. But I saw that they were demonically inspired. This again is not the first time I've seen this. I saw this before as well in night visions. Actually, I've seen this. They are very clever, very progressive, very intelligent, but many are demonically inspired. People need to be careful watching these games because of demons behind them. Virtual reality, I am hearing from the Lord just now. Very sophisticated in their design, and that's what I saw, that they were really, really pushing out for the most cleverest designs, the most cleverest way to draw people into these games. That's what I was seeing. They were doing it very, very well, very well. They're very sophisticated, very addictive. And people need to be careful. Be careful how deep they are taking you into them. So that's what I was feeling. Be careful. These are demonically inspired. It's like the Lord is giving revelation here that there's a lot of demonic inspiration behind these games. And the idea is to draw you into that world very deeply, into a virtual reality. And the reason is that Satan wants to seduce you out of this world, because he does not want you to be used by the Lord. He wants to steal your destiny. He wants to steal your purpose. So he doesn't want you to find out your purpose from God. He wants you distracted. So for those of you who are into computer games, just be very careful what's going on with them, because the Lord clearly, I was in hell and I was seeing these things. I was seeing these things in hell. They were creating these games in hell. Next, I was seeing Disney in hell again. All this, I'm seeing all this while I'm in hell, really. So I was seeing Disney. I was seeing animated cartoons in Disney, but I was seeing a Disney character, and she was taking her clothes off. And I saw very suggestive things in these Disney cartoons that was replicating sexual activity, using rhythms like in sexual intercourse, and was using insinuations, sexual insinuations. These were all hidden, subtle messages behind them, subliminal messages. But they're sexual messages that are coming through. I really saw this. And I felt that God was showing me that Disney is getting very polluted. And there is a satanic agenda behind this. Because a lot of these things were coming out of hell's activity. Because this is what God was showing me from the beginning of this, was that hell was very active right now. So Satan has an agenda to sexualize young children using subliminal messages that are sexualizing them. This will create behavioral problems. I felt God show me this. They're going to have behavioral problems. Children will see this all as normal. That's the danger. It will be normalized. Children are like a sponge. They're innocent and take it all in. So what will happen is it will be reflected in their behaviors. And it will probably increase their sexual behaviors and activity as they get into adolescence and older, because they have been infiltrated already with this. Satan will be able to control the behaviors of children through it, so parents, warning, be very careful about what your children are watching. Don't assume because it's Disney Channel that it's okay anymore, because Satan is infiltrating every aspect of society right now. So check, always watch the movies before your child watches the movies. And if you feel uncomfortable with anything in it, go and ask the Lord for, about it. So Satan uses witches and warlocks for all his purposes. We don't know how many curses he is using on all this stuff. So hell is very busy. This was emphasized in all this. I saw this when I was seeing the cities, because I'm going back now, flipping back again because I forgot this piece. When I was going in the spirit and I was seeing the cities, and I was seeing that Satan believed that he was controlling these cities, I saw that Satan scouted for very talented people in the earth, and also those girls that are very beautiful, that when he saw them, he would try and corrupt and take those talents for his purposes. So he was looking for the most intelligent people, the most gifted people, and the most beautiful people, and he would target them specifically. They would be his targets. So watch out, warning, right? He wanted to harness their talents and use them for himself, for his own glory. I especially saw some beautiful, elegant, pure women, and I was looking at them in hell, and they're very beautiful, and they're very pure and innocent. And then I saw Satan, he put a rope around their neck, and he was choking them. They were hanging, and they changed, and they became darker and more seductive looking. And some of them had, well, all of them really, these girls that I saw, they had completely changed. They were barely recognizable to what they used to be. I've already seen this in the music industry. I think all of us have seen this in the music industry. Women that were, came in very innocent and beautiful, and then all of a sudden they're, doing crazy stuff, and, they're using satanic coding and very clearly have shifted sides, So that was kind of symbolic, I think, the hanging thing, the rope, but it was like Satan was choking their innocence, choking. It's like, choking them. I just think, choking them, their innocence or their beauty. Okay. So once they did that, so I saw the way out of this, right? And this is what the Lord showed me. that people must offer their giftings, their talents, and their beauty to the Lord. Offer them to the Lord, and once they did that, it would prevent Satan from getting to them. So that's the way I felt. That was the way out of this, of avoiding the snares and, you know, temptations of Satan. Satan will destroy these people and use their giftings for himself. Yeah, okay. So that was an interesting one, and that's definitely happening, especially in the music industry. So then I was shown, this is interesting, I was shown a huge pillar of the church, and it was broken down. So it was a very large pillar, and I felt like the church has, you know, probably about 4 large pillars that holds up the church. And these, you know, these are probably pillars of truth, really. But anyway, one of these big, large pillars of truth was broken. I saw it broken down halfway. It was all crumbled. And it was a great victory for Satan. And it was a huge and successful attack against the church for the devil. And it broke a massive truth pillar of the church. And it was this Darwinian doctrine, the evolution doctrine that came out of Darwin's theory of evolution. And I realized myself that this evolution doctrine is what inspired Nazism. You know, that they wanted to produce a superior race, get rid of the weak, and, you know, produce this superior race, which is a lie. It's all a lie, because you know, we were created by the Creator, which is God. You know. Anyway, I became aware also that this is one of Satan's great doctrines. Like he embraced it as his doctrine, right? It's one of his great doctrines. This is what I saw in hell. And that he sows this lie into all of his generals and those who follow him, who walk closely with Satan. He sows this into them. That's one of his real classic lies, you know. It is his prime doctrine, which it seems weird that Satan would have a doctrine, but this is his doctrine. He embraced this. He is delighted with it because of the destruction that it has caused. It destroys God as creator in the minds of people. Even Christians believe this lie. And it's truly a science versus creation, and the battle ensues. So these are predominantly all the things that I saw when I was on my visitation, when I was in hell. And I was traveling in the spirit, seeing all these different things. The presence of God was very strong upon me. Even I was in this presence for about an hour, and I wrote down as much as I could remember, and I probably will remember more as time goes on, possibly, because I've seen a lot of things. I didn't want to disturb what was going on, you know. Yeah, so that was interesting. I didn't really experience this time. I didn't really experience, like, I saw the black billows of smoke, but I didn't see the horrors of hell. I just saw all these revelations that God was giving me that was coming out of hell. It was like God was revealing to me all the busy activity that in hell, and how it was coming on the earth, because that's what it does. It comes through the dimension of hell and it enters into the earth, you know, through the people that Satan uses and through demonic activity and so forth. So thought I'd share that with you. If you want to give me any comments or any questions or anything, feel free to come back and do that. So God bless you all, and I'll speak to you soon. God bless. Bye.